Have you ever found yourself trapped in a relationship that feels like pain and love are constantly playing tug-of-war? Where your heart screams to leave, but your mind whispers, maybe things will change. Where the more you're hurt, the more attached you become. That is not love. That is what psychology calls a trauma bond, an invisible chain built not by trust or affection, but by fear, manipulation, and emotional confusion. And the most haunting part, you don't even realize you're chained until it's too late. Let's break that illusion. Here are 25 powerful psychology facts about trauma bond relationship that explain why we hold on to people who hurt us and how we can finally let go one. Psychology says trauma bonds are formed through a cycle of abuse followed by intermittent kindness. This emotional roller coaster tricks your brain into craving the very person who causes your pain. 2. According to psychological studies, the same brain chemicals released during love, like oxytocin, are also released during emotional abuse, creating a toxic attachment. 3. Psychology reveals trauma bonds are strengthened by unpredictability. The more inconsistent the partner, the harder it becomes to leave. Experts say victims often confuse intensity with intimacy. The chaos feels passionate, but it's actually harmful. 5. Psychology explains people with childhood trauma are more likely to fall into trauma bonds because dysfunction feels familiar. 6. Studies show even after the abuse ends, the brain craves the abuser, just like an addict craves a drug. 7. According to psychologists, gaslighting rewires your mind to doubt yourself, making you dependent on your abuser for reality. 8. Science says your brain starts to normalize toxic behavior over time, making it harder to recognize it as wrong. 9. Psychology states the fear of abandonment often overpowers the fear of staying in a harmful relationship. 10. Research suggests the abuser often isolates you from friends and family to increase control and deepen the bond. 11. Psychologists say love bombing in the beginning creates a fantasy that victims keep chasing long after it fades. 12. According to trauma studies, guilt is used as a tool, making you feel responsible for the abuse you endure. 13. Psychology observes victims often hold on to potential rather than reality, hoping the abuser will return to who they were in the beginning. 14. Experts confirm breaking a trauma bond feels like withdrawal because the nervous system is addicted to emotional chaos. 15. Psychology teaches the longer you stay in the cycle, the more your identity becomes entangled with the relationship. 16. Therapists report victims often develop hyper-empathy, prioritizing the abuser's pain over their own well-being. 17. Studies find many victims blame themselves for the abuse, believing they provoked it or deserved it. 18. According to psychological research, trauma bonds can form within weeks if emotional intensity is high enough. 19. Science explains the abuser's occasional kindness activates the brain's reward system, pulling you back in. 20. Psychologists say manipulation often comes disguised as love, making it harder to detect and easier to justify. 21. Research shows trauma-bonded individuals often repeat the pattern in future relationships unless they heal consciously. 22. Psychology reveals victims often feel intense loyalty to their abuser, even defending them to others. 23rd. Therapists explain you don't stay because you're weak. You stay because your brain has been rewired to attach to the danger. 24. According to mental health experts, healing starts when you go no contact, even though it feels like losing a part of yourself. 25. Psychology concludes awareness is the first step to freedom. When you recognize the downward bond for what it is, you reclaim your power. If you saw your story in these lines, know this: you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. You were just taught to survive in a war zone and call it love. But now you know the truth. And truth is where healing begins. Stay strong, stay aware, and choose yourself again and again.